Okay, so what's the hottest thing you've done this week?
The hottest thing I've done this week. Hmm. I've done a lot of hot things, honestly. First of all, I've existed, so that's cool.
Same.
Let me think. Mm, Come back to me. I gotta marinate on that one.
Let me think of the hottest thing that I've done. Just okay. So I will say
That's
this:
what I'm saying.
this past week was not a very hottie week.
It wasn't.
It wasn't, not for me.
See, I agree. Like, I'm trying to think of like something this past week, and I'm like, um, okay. I'll say this. I think I was a really good supportive friend to another friend in need.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, so I'll say that. I think I was a good supportive friend this week.
I
That's
just
kind of cute.
I just cried a lot.
You know what? I can name a list of people who are like attractive when they cry. So don't be discouraged.
Hey, I was gonna say me. No.
I kind of look like Kim Kardashian, but there was a website. It was my like freshman year of college. It was kind of like Sheen before it was Sheen, but you could go on there and like order a bunch of different things. And my freshman year of college, I almost ordered like a Kim Kardashian like long sleeve sweatshirt of her like sobbing for finals week, but then I ended up being in the hospital.
Oh,
Oh, oh, oh! Hotties get sick.
only the hottie.
And you know what? Sometimes hotties get kidney stones, and some of us are superior in hotness, and so we get three at the same time because it's talent.
And they can never get on that level. They can never understand.
Right. And the encore to the kidney stones was a kidney infection, and to that I say top it. I mean, some of us just got it, honey. I don't know what else to tell you.
Have I ever had a kidney stone? No. But
Well, it's okay. I'm sure you've had other things. I'm sure we could think of something.
let's think. Oh, there's such a list.
Hey, question. Do you have depression?
Yes.
Hottie.
Icon.
Icon!
Icon ally.
That's so funny. No, I feel like all hot people have something, whether it's depression or IBS.
Oh, 100%. Or some got both. And I'm pretty sure I got it.
Yeah. And you know what? I have a lot of things that make me quirky, I guess we'll call it.
I got a bunch
you
of
know
things
what?
that make me a little silly goofy.
Yeah, but listen, sometimes you just gotta call your psychiatrist and be like, "Hey, girl, I know you're doing your best."
And so am I.
Yeah, I think my first appointment with my current psychiatrist, I told her I was like, "Hey, I'm the reason you went to school." I want to hear this though. What is your hottie take of the week? What's something this week that? Okay, not you immediately laughing. Go ahead and tell me.
Pull out
Go ahead, tell me.
pull out a cigarette. Um Don't get attached too quickly to somebody.
Period. Okay. Can we unpack that?
Okay.
You can say no. You can say no.
I mean, it is part of the topic for today.
Okay.
The hot takes on relationships. That's the topic for
Okay.
today. I'm not gonna name drop because I've already promised I wouldn't.
Oh, I've signed a contract.
I've signed an NDA with the government, so
Ooh.
Nah.
No.
But, nah. But, I don't know. So I had a date. It went very well. And then, I got very excited because, obviously when you have a great date, you're like, yeah, yeah.
You're like, this could be it.
Oh yeah, I was like, okay, this is it. This is it 100%.
Yeah.
And then they hit me up the next week and was like, hey, I'm not ready for a relationship. Did I cry
Right.
in that instant? Yeah. Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
Did I cry for
Yeah.
2 days after that? Hey, yeah. I think in this talking stage, I got very attached very quickly, and I don't think I should have allowed that to happen.
I mean, I can get that, but at the same time, I don't think it's fair for you to think of it as okay, it's my fault because I got this attached too quickly. Because it's also one of those things like it's hard to not get attached.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, especially in this day and age, because people, the charisma or the riz or however you want to call it, has the riz has really been upped the past, I don't know, I would say honestly like 3 years, because you have to think about, like, especially because, a lot of people these days in relationships, not all, but a lot of them, they've started on an app.
And
And
this one did.
so, yeah, and so, well, I mean, my boyfriend and I, met on a dating site, and, you know, I was very guarded. So but I think it's because I learned the lesson of getting my hopes up and getting semi-attached
Mm-hmm.
to these people who ultimately let me down. And it's really hard to date because, like, people tell you, like, well, you have to be emotionally open and you have to be vulnerable and you have to be all of these things. And then on the flip side, it's like, oh, but you can't be too open. You still have to have some kind of guard up,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's from the angle of, oh, because it gives them something to work for, or men love a challenge. That's something that I've been told repeatedly is men love a challenge. Like, you can't just be super, nice and open and vulnerable with them up front. And I'm kind of like, hey, but that's the kind of person I am.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to have to pretend to be this way. But I want to talk about that situation with you first, because it's so hard and it's so difficult.
Which, I mean, I get it. I get the mindset that they could have been in, of the fact of they didn't know how to approach it. But
Right.
I feel like still a little, hey, I'm alive,
Right.
would have
Right.
sufficed. Which I'm not like, you're a horrible person for this. I'm just like, hey, icky.
Well, but it's also like, hey, hey, can you not? Um, but okay, like for me, I'll give you this example. My boyfriend has met two of my three sisters at this point. And he met my oldest sister, Ren, and then my second oldest sister, Megan. And they both were like, if she's ever mean to you, let us know. Because to everyone listening, I feel like y'all already know me pretty well. It's not a surprise that I have a little bit of an attitude. I have a little bit of sass about me. Right, as I should. Earned, honestly. And my boyfriend Tyler, he is very calm. He's very like, I can be getting sassy about something and he's like, okay, baby, if that's how you feel. And my sister straight up, they were like, if she's mean to you, let us know. And he's like, Abby has never been mean to me. Like, she doesn't get mean with me, she doesn't get snappy with me, but it's because I don't have to have the defense up with him. And I don't think I've felt that in a relationship ever.
I definitely feel like in a relationship, you 100% have to have like that yin and yang type of energy.
100%. Which is so funny. I told him in the car this past weekend, actually, because he and we're right at like the 6 month mark. And we were talking about it. And
That's so sweet. 6 months.
I said, I know. Well, and it's flown
It
by.
really has.
It
And I have not
has.
met that man.
Yeah. But no, whenever we met, he I don't know if he's gonna get me for talking about this, but on the first date, he wanted me to ask, like, he wanted to ask me to be his girlfriend on the first date, but I had rules and boundaries in place where I was like, listen, I do like you. I have a 3 month rule. And he was like, I'll respect it. If we need to wait 3 months to date, we can. He said, I have a 3 date rule. And I said, I'll be honest. Your rule kind of sounds better in this situation. That sounds nice, because I was like, like, if he and I can go on 3 different kinds of dates over the next, month and a half or something like that, that'd be great. And sure enough, we went on that first date. And I want to say I've seen him almost every weekend since that first date. And like, we've had long stints of time together. Like, we did Christmas, and then whenever we had spring break, I hung out with him on spring break. Mm-hmm. And it's so nice, because it's one of those things where he's an introvert, and I told him that. Oh, he hears me talking about him. I lost my train of thought.
I can explain the 3 dates.
Okay, do you want to come explain the 3 dates?
The 3 dates.
Oh, we have our first guest?
Do something nice to introduce yourself.
Yeah, wait, come over here and talk into the microphone. It's not recording. It's not video. It's not video. It's just audio. You're good.
Well, the 3 dates. One date is always just to introduce yourself, get to know the person. It's usually like sit down, drinks, coffee, alcohol, beer, whatever you want.
Right.
Second date is usually either something fun, so to see if they're competitive or if they're more on the fun side. So like either bowling, mini golf, axe throwing. And then the third day is just kind of like in between. Like, you want to go get dinner. You want to see how the person eats in front of you, because if they're a slob, I don't know. But you also want to see how they order, because if they're going to order a big meal, heck no.
What do you mean a big meal? Okay.
Third dates, if you're going to order steak and lobster, you gotta spend
okay,
some
yeah,
taste.
That's fair.
But definitely gonna either get something to eat and then do something after, like either again something fun or go see a movie. But the third date is really when you really know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I have a question, if you can answer, because I mean this whole one is about relationships, and they hear a lot from me. On your side, what do you think makes our relationship work so well?
Our communication.
I agree.
Communication, as well as being long distance for right now.
Yeah.
That is what's really gotten us as strong as we are, with not seeing each other every single week or really every day.
Right.
And not really blowing each other up, but really just having that little bit of distance where our love for each other just goes stronger.
Right.
By having that distance, because like when you leave tomorrow, I'm gonna miss you.
Right.
And I'm gonna be excited to see you again, but just not having that every day, like, oh,
right.
Hey.
No, I agree with that. And because he and I also talked about this, whenever you first meet someone, and like, it's really easy to do, like whenever you guys like live in the same area, in the same town, it's so easy to end up being with each other every single day. And I'm not saying that that's like a terrible thing or a bad thing, but if you don't allow each other time to miss each other,
especially while getting to know each other at
right.
first.
Ooh, now I got a question for both of you.
It's so important. Okay, he has a question for both of us.
Do you believe it was love at first sight, or is it something that I had to grow into love?
I'll let you answer first.
You're gonna let me answer first? Yeah. I think for me, it was a version of love at first sight. It was okay, I automatically have like a level of comfortability with him, and that's a really big thing for me. So like, I knew it was a love, but I hadn't fallen in love yet. I feel like there's a difference between loving someone and being in love with someone. Do you agree?
Yes, but it's not my answer.
Tyler said yes, but it's not my answer. Okay, well, what was your answer?
Mine was love at first sight.
Oh.
I mean, after our date, like, I walked you to your car, and I wasn't joking when I said, "Where's the closest jewelry store?"
He did. He did. He said, "Where's the closest jewelry store?" And I said, "You can't ask me to marry you yet."
I had a ring pop in the car I was thinking about getting, but I knew that would have been a little too cheesy, but
Oh.
I did.
Well, I did love you, but I feel like I was also a little bit more guarded
We
than
did
you
want
were.
to grow, but I knew after our first kiss, it was like...
Yeah, no, after our first kiss, I was like, and I'm never hanging this up. Like, I was like, yep. Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely was, but, like, we weren't that couple that said, I love you right off the bat. No. We didn't.
About a month later.
Huh?
About a month later.
I'm about to say, about a month and a half later.
And somebody beat me to the punch.
And I did. I caught him so off guard. We were sitting in the driveway of his aunt's house. And he had done something, and, like, I'd been thinking about it all morning. And, like, we had done that thing where we had, like, kind of danced around it a little bit. But we both knew how we were feeling. And he did something, and I started laughing. And he said, "What?" And I said, "Nothing, I just love you." And he looked at me, and he said, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, I love you." And he's like, "I love you too, but you beat me to it." I've been wanting to say it. But yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely been nothing but love between me and Tyler from the beginning. But I also think, because like I said, he and I met online, but we also, even during that talking thing, like, we didn't blow each other up all the time, every day. Like, he was very sincere in his messages, and, like, he would send me a really good message in the morning, just tell me he, hopes I slept good, and he hopes I have a good day, and, all that thing. And then we would send a few messages to each other in the evenings, and we would have, as much of a conversation as we could. But, like, I thought it was very attractive that he was the kind of person who put his phone down at work and was involved at work and wasn't worried about messaging me back, because that allowed me the space to say, like, okay, he's secure in who he is. He's secure in his communication, and we don't have to blow each other up.
That's my thing, is, like, I definitely, in a relationship, I don't have to have constant communication, but good communication, if that makes sense. Like,
oh, yeah.
It's like I'm at work. Okay. I'll text you, or text me when you get off. Or, like,
right.
I made it to the store. Okay. Or I made it home, blah, blah, blah. Like, we don't have to constantly text, as long as you're letting me know, like, hey, I'm still living.
Yeah, but no, I mean, that was what stood out about him to me on the app, is he wasn't forward, he wasn't pushy, he wasn't anything like that. But, like, he was very intentional about seeing me and hanging out with me and making time for me, but also allowing me, the time and the space to also invest in my friends, because he knows that my friends are very important to me. So, like, there have definitely been times where he's like, go hang out with your friends. Like, you can just text me afterwards, or call me on your way home, or just at least let me know you made it home safe. And I've been in relationships where, like, the men are like, either they're like, ew, why are you hanging out with those friends? They suck. Or, what's that from?
They over from your Otis.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Or, like, my, well, never mind. I can't talk about him on the internet, because not you. No, I'm talking about the terrible past I had before you, babe. Terrible past I had before you.
She said, hey, not you.
Hey, well, he looked at me, and I was like, no, not you. I literally just talked about how supportive and wonderful you are.
I swear.
I swear, baby, it's on the record, and play it back. No, but my first serious relationship, he kind of, like, infiltrated my friend group. Yeah, like, if I was friends with someone from the college that I was going to at that time, he would, like, to the point where, like, he would show up at the campus whenever he knew I had a break in classes. And, yeah, he would, like, come to the campus and like eat lunch with me. And like my friends got to the point where they were like, hey, we don't want to eat lunch with you anymore. And so like I have had those terrible relationships where either they're too involved in your life or they discourage you from being friends with the people that you're friends with, to now this sweet angel of a man who is like, I love your friends. I love that you love your friends. He listens to every episode of the podcast. He tells me what parts he loves. He encourages the things that I love to do. Like, and I mean, I do the same for him. Right now I'm just bragging about how it's me, 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 me. But he, like, I do the same for him in all of his adventures. And yeah, but I will say, like, it took me until I was 30 years old to actually find a healthy relationship because dating sucks.
It does.
It does. There's, like, we all have to just state it, especially online dating, because you're competing with flipping everybody.
Yeah, and I would say that's, like, that's one of my red flags with dating for myself is, like, I have to be at the top of that person's roster no matter what. No matter what I have to do, like, that is my whole mindset. Like, I want them to sit there and only think about me.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like, honestly, that's not that far-fetched to think about because, like, that's how it should be. It should 100% be, like, I obviously, like, made the joke to Tyler once, like, we started getting serious. I was like, you better hang everybody else up. He was like, I'm gonna, like, it's only you. But it's because he had already gone through the whole, like, no. And, like, I'll be honest, I didn't have a roster whenever I met him. I know. And it's like, he was like, what about you, all your other boyfriends? I was like, you're the only person I'm going on dates with. Like, you're the only person that has my attention. But it also was just, like, I don't know, with him it was a very natural thing, and, like, my family's obsessed with him to the point that they straight up told me this weekend that if anything ever happened between he and I, that they were keeping him and I would have to earn my way back into the family. And that's also a first. Like, Megan point blank told Tyler this weekend, she was like, you're definitely extremely better than the first man she brought home. And I was like, oh, can we not? Can we not? They were like, dude was crazy. And I was like, I know. Shut up. Shut up. I don't have a good track record. I believe my boyfriend whenever he says it was love at first sight. I believe him. I just personally don't believe for myself in being in love at the first sight, because I feel like it's very natural to be heavily attracted to someone and heavily attracted to the presence that they bring in a room and be infatuated with them. But, like, as far as... Okay. Actually, no, now that I'm processing it, I do believe in love at first sight, but I don't believe in being in love at first sight.
That definitely makes
Does that make sense? Yeah, like, because I loved Tyler the moment I looked at him. But, like, it took me a little bit to fall in love with him. Again, not because of him, but just because there's so much past trauma in relationships for me. Like, my therapist gets paid. I'll say that. But he was also very patient with me through that and was like, however long it takes you to process this or go through this, like, I fully support. And, like, that made me fall in love with him even more because he cared about me healing those wounds. And it wasn't well, I'll show you I'm different. I'll show you I'm not like them. Like, it was okay, yeah, take your time. I'm here. And I didn't have to fight it. So, yeah, I believe in love at the first sight. I just think relationships take time. And there's me ranting and telling you how I look at it. Like, there are such stages in relationships, though. Like, it's a initial attraction. Okay, I'm attracted to this person. And then it's okay, I like the way that they handle their business. I like the way that they present themselves. I like XYZ. I like their eye color. And then you go into, okay, like, I'm really crushing on this person. Like, I'm really developing feelings for this person. Like, this is kind of crazy. And then comes the, okay, we're really getting to know each other. My love is starting to grow. And then there's the relationship. I'm in love with this person. Excuse me, I burped. Excuse me.
I will say that the way you said
but
it,
like,
that you feel it love at first sight is exactly how I feel about it. Even to the point where I asked ChatGPT to, like, is it real? Because I was like, I want to make sure that I understand, like, that I'm not in the wrong of the way I feel about it. And it was absolutely the same way I was.
well, yeah, but like, the thing is, there are some, like, there's a couple that I grew up in the same town with, and their son and I graduated the same year, and they got married 2 months after meeting. 2 months after initial meet, got married. They've been happily married for like 3 decades, if not a little bit more. Like, I don't know when their wedding anniversary was, but like, he knew the moment he met her that she was the one. Tyler said that that's how he felt whenever he met me. And the feeling is mutual, but I feel like after you've been hurt, it takes a little bit of time to, like, trust yourself. When it comes to, like, okay, am I thinking clearly about this? Am I going to get hurt again? Am I, going to do this? And I'm a very, like, while I am an emotional person, I learned my lesson the hard way the first time. And I don't want to go through that again. But the problem with that is control and anxiety. And, like, as much as you want to, you can't control feelings.
I only want to be in control of it all. Like, that's my thing in relationships or when in talking stages is, like, I feel a certain way. And I'm like, because I'll be completely honest and transparent about it. I may have a small roster, but there are limited people that I actually fully open up to and let them see the true me. And I feel like with this past person, it was, they got to see the true raw me before anyone else did. Or I was opening up more quickly, I would say. I was opening up more quickly than I have ever done with anybody. And I was doing, like, pushing myself, if that makes sense, because I had such harder feelings than I have before. Yeah. And that was scary for me, because I was like, I've never felt this.
Well, yeah, but if you don't take anything else away from the experience, you should be proud of yourself for pushing yourself to open up. Because if anything, you learned, oh, I am capable of going a little bit more outside of myself and growing in some way. So, like, while what happened was absolutely crappy, like, you should be really proud of yourself at the fact that you were able to be vulnerable and at least open up and try. Like, you weren't just a hard shell. So, if anything, we can just thank this person for the fact that they cracked you open a little bit more. And now you'll be a little bit more emotionally willing to open up to the next person because, okay, I've already kind of spoken about these issues, so it's going to be a little bit easier to talk about this go round. Because well, and here's what I'll say to that. I believe in second chances. I believe in forgiveness. But also, you did it once, 100%. Don't do it again. If you do it again, you're done. Like, if you do it again,
that's
you're
done. That's my thing. It's like, I can... The Lord said, what was it? Turn your cheek, and then, 70 times 7? But I got 2 cheeks.
Right.
If you want to be technical, I got 4.
Listen, there are only... Right. Listen, there's only so many cheeks I can turn, homie. Like... I can't do it, but it's also like for me, it's I get trust issues so quickly. It's like if you do it to me once, like I forgive you, but like I'm not a forgive and forget person. I'm not a let me hold it against you, let me bring it back up and run it into the ground. But like I keep it as my own reference point in the back of my mind where I'm like, you know what, like I'm gonna learn to trust you again. But whenever you start not acting right, if you see my anxiety go up, that's not because of me. Like, that's because of what you did.
And I will say, like, I definitely have trust issues in, like, dating, only because there was once where I had a talking stage that lasted 3 months. 3 months. And then one day I was heading back from cold quit practice, and they called me, and I was like, oh, it's just a normal phone call, blah, blah, blah. We're talking like normal. And all of a sudden they got quiet, and I was like, you okay? And they were like, I don't know how to say this, but I'm just not in it. And I was like, not in what? Like, not in your house? What are we talking about? And they were like, no, I'm just not in this relationship. And I said, oh. And they were like, and honestly, I haven't been in it for a while. And I said, oh, so you've been pushing through and faking feelings for a month or two? And that's my thing is, I'd rather someone be completely honest with me than live through it lying. Because that's just going to get my hopes up, and that's going to get me even more pissed off to the point where I can't even talk to you anymore. Right. And that just developed into trust issues, and I will say that bled over into this past talking stage, where I had those thoughts of, well, maybe what they're saying that they feel about me isn't true, and then it sort of was like, it turned into, obviously it was like, they're not ready for a relationship, and then it just felt as though all that anxiety and pressure that I felt for that talking stage all came true. Sorry, I'm not going to get emotional.
It's okay if you do. I mean, it's a rough thing. Because it's like someone's playing yo-yo with your feelings. It's the whole reason why a situationship is the worst kind of relationship to be in, because you're essentially doing relationship things without a title, and you know they can go around and do whatever it is they want, and it's also it's like we said in the beginning, it's really not that hard to be honest and forthcoming whenever things are upsetting to you. But like, I also, because we can unpack this a little bit too, I also think that there are just specific people out there who love the mind games. They loved the cat and mouse, you know, I'm gonna get you this attached, and then I'm gonna hurt you, that way whenever I come back you're gonna remember how much you missed me, and you're gonna want me back. Like it's a form of an attachment style, and it's disgusting. And you know, I think that some people do it subconsciously, but like I've been in situations where, you know, guys are like, I don't really know if I want a relationship, but like, do you want to go out on another date? And I'm like, no, because clearly we have two different things that we want. There was one guy I matched with, and he was a med student, and like we went out on a date, and he was nice enough, but we both could tell that there wasn't that romantic spark there. But like we kept up as friends. Like, I mean, I haven't talked to him obviously in like, gosh, probably like 9 months now. Like I don't really keep up with him that much because he's out of the country studying, doing whatever he does. But he was a really nice person with cool activities that I honestly want nothing to do with. He loved camping. what part of me looks like I like camping. But more power to him. So like there are there are situations out there where you meet people and you're like, the romantic spark's not there, but like you do seem like a really nice person, and I wish the best for you, and that's totally
See, I've
normal.
had that multiple times. This one,
but-
I don't know. This one just felt different. It hurt. It hurt only because I felt like that romantic thing was there, but it could develop into more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, because there's nothing wrong with being open-hearted and open-minded and all that kind of stuff. And like, we can't, if there's something that I've learned from my current relationship, it's you can't let the past trauma and the past sins that someone else did against you bleed into new relationships, because Tyler doesn't deserve any of the trauma that I have from my past 2 relationships. And if it ever comes up, he's like, yeah, we can talk about it. And like, I don't have to go into like massive detail, but he's super supportive and he's super kind about it. And, I think that he's correct whenever he says like our communication is what keeps us going, because if I were to stonewall him or he were to stonewall me, we would kind of just be sitting there staring at each other, because I'm a girl with a lot of feelings, and he might be an introvert, and he's standing in the room, so he can correct me if I'm wrong, but he also has a lot of emotions, and he has a lot of feelings, and we're the kind of couple where like we enjoy talking about them. Like, he's way more romantic than me, dude. What? And like, I'll admit it, that man is a romantic.
That's good though.
Yeah. But, I mean, if this would have been me 2 years ago, still holding on to all, like, the trauma I had and how afraid I was to feel things, I don't think we would have been able to go this way. I think he would have had his work cut out for him. Do I still think he would have loved me and pursued me? Yes. But bless his heart,
So you definitely believe in right person, wrong time.
Right. And I think that he and I are just lucky that we met each other at the right time. Because we've also talked about this, and again, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but like, we both were kind of at our wits' end whenever it came to dating. By the time we met each other, we were so over like meeting people and going out on new dates, and we had both said individually, like, if this, like, because I told Kristen this, and he said that he even thought it himself. I was like, if this date doesn't work out, I'm quitting. I'm done. I'm quitting. I'm not going on another date. I'll be single until Oliver has graduated, and then I'll, lose my mind.
I think that's
or something
where
like
I'm
that.
at right
But
now.
I'll be 32.
1 second. What'd you say?
And I'll be 32 with 30 cats.
Right. Tyler said I'll be 32 with 30 cats.
I think that's where I'm at right now with it. It's just like,
But
I've done so much. I've talked to so many people where I'm just like, at this point, if whoever I'm talking to right now, or whatever situation, ship, whatever you want to call it, is right now, if it doesn't work out, the next person's going to have to reach out to me. I'm not going out of my way.
Right. Well, I want to challenge you in this, and I want you to answer this question. Just to challenge that way of thinking, because it's a conversation I wish that someone would have had with me. Even though you've had all these experiences and you've talked to so many people and you've gone out on dates and things like that, what are some things that you have learned about yourself that you really, really love? What are different things that you like have learned about yourself just by like talking to other people and having these experiences?
No matter what they do to me, no matter what the experience is like, I'm still a caring and loving person. And I think I love that the most, because I never waver or trip up on that. I always stick to the same mindset, no matter what. Even if I just feel as though that, no matter what, happens in that talking stage or whatever it is, I always remain a loving and caring person, and I think I love that the most. That I can look past what happens, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I love that. So you have realized that throughout these experiences, the fundamentals of who you are don't change. See, I love that because a lot of people do get caught up and lost in dating, and they kind of try to conform to, you know, what someone wants, but that proves that you're secure in who you are as a person, and no one can come along and take that from you.
I had to work years into becoming confident and self-aware in who I was, because there was a point in time where I quite literally would tell my friends that I'm not in the mindset to date. I'm in the mindset to get attention. And I was like that for years. I played around with people because I needed attention at the time. And was it healthy for me? No. Was it healthy and good for them? No. But it's something that I felt like usually, yeah, I was that kind of person that was like, I'm gonna do it for attention, but now I feel like my mindset has completely changed, because now I actually am out looking for something, because I feel as though that I've been single for so long that I just want somebody that I could go to and them always be there. I mean, I know I can get that in friends, but I want somebody that's like that on more emotional level.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I mean, like, I will say this, because you and I share that experience in the, you know, we had that rough time where it was like, you know, I'm not really in it for, you know, the relationship or 100% the right reasons. But, like, if you're anything like me, sometimes, like, I look back on those instances and I'm like, I'm low-key embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I have these moments where I'm like, wow, if I just would have paid attention to the things around me and I just would have focused on me and realized that I wasn't in the mindset I needed to be in, things would have been a little bit different. And obviously, you know, you can't go back and turn around time, because if you could, then we would all have perfect lives.
Exactly.
But I do, to change my thinking on that, I look back on those and I'm like, okay, well, what are things that I discovered about myself, or what are things that I realized that I do like in a relationship or I don't like in a relationship? And that's the only way you're going to find out, is if you do go on dates and you do talk to people. Because I will say I've learned a lot about what I will tolerate in a relationship and what I absolutely will not. And anything that you can, you know, contribute towards growth, I take it as a win.
Yeah. That's a good thing. That is the right thing, love. But I will, like,
He's
that's
fantastic.
just my whole thing, is relationships, talking stages, no matter what, is communication is so big for me.
Oh, yeah.
That's all, even in friendships, that's all I want, is just true communication. And I've had friendships that are like that, and you know about those friendships that the communication is just
Yes, I do.
not there. Even when they sit there and they're like, oh yeah, communication's really big for me, and they're just not communicating, and I'm like, hey, I have a gun.
Well, it's also like how, I feel like we've covered this in like a previous episode, but it's like I obviously don't have to hear from you every single day, but like I would like to hear from you at least twice a week.
Yeah.
Just so I can keep up with you. And I mean, it goes both ways. Like, if I haven't heard from you, I'm going to reach out to you. Or if you haven't heard from me, you'll reach out to me. But like, I don't know. I thrive on communication, and I love knowing how people are doing and what they're up to and how things are going for them. Like, I'm I'm usually not the kind of friend where I'm like, yeah, we'll talk when we talk.
Yeah.
Like, I like to be involved.
And I know the friendship that I am talking about, you know exactly who it is. I feel
Yes,
like
I do.
they know.
I clocked them from the beginning. Okay, well, listen. Okay, if you're listening, I will say
If
this.
you're listening.
Direct message to you know who you are. It's not too late to put in effort. It's not like you're still very loved, you're still very adored. Just pay attention to how you treat people.
Especially your friends.
Pay attention, especially your friends. Like, pay attention to body language and facial expressions, because it's not a mystery. You know what I mean? And again, I say, it's not too late to turn it around. Forgiveness is fantastic. And if you don't feel like you need forgiveness, so be it.
Hey, that's on you.
That's on you, and that's okay. But, like, I don't know. I don't believe in giving up a good friendship solely because you don't want to self-reflect. I'll be the first one to say, there have been times that I haven't been the greatest friend on the planet, and I know that because my friends love me and care about me enough to be like, hey, you kind of suck right now.
Yeah.
And you're kind of hard to talk to. Can we get it together? And I'm like, ugh. Well, if everyone is saying it, it obviously is me. You know what I mean?
I'm the
like,
issue.
right. Well, I mean, that's a real thing. Is like, you know, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it must be a duck.
100%.
So, I don't know. What I'm saying is, because also let me say this. I believe in communication and talking to people. Excuse me. And we're not name dropping on the podcast, so like,
No, we're not
really the only people. Right. Really, the only people who know who we're talking about is me and you, and
maybe a couple
the other people who agree. Let's say the other people that agree with the opinions. But like, the reason I am the way that I am is because like I kind of expect that if I'm off my game or I'm acting, you know, strange or like anything like that, you guys love me enough to be like, hey, come back down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, get back down here. Water's fine. I don't want to be friends with people who are going to sit there and let me rot.
Oh, yeah.
And make me, you know, feel like I'm right for the sake of saving my feelings. Like, people who truly love you will call you out.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank, period. And you can be nice about it. Listen, I can sugarcoat a call out.
Period.
I can sugarcoat it. The day is long. Bless her heart. Okay?
I'll be the person, hey, and I'm going to grab your hand when I say this.
Right. You're like, take my hands. Look me in my eyes.
You're stupid.
What the hell are you doing? Let's talk about this. But like, I'm also one of those people where like, if you ain't gonna listen to me, yes you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not me trying to be rude. It truly is I love you enough to do this.
Oh, exactly. And I will say, like, even I've told my friend Rebecca. Rebecca's listening, I hope, because Rebecca's a real one. She a real one.
Side note about Rebecca. Literally one of the nicest people you will ever meet. She sent me an Easter snack this morning, and just seeing her face, I was like, a face that I haven't seen in so long. What a precious human.
I love her so much.
I love you, Rebecca. And I hope that you had a fantastic day today, and that your week this week is amazing, and that no one at work gives you a hard time.
Yeah, because you deserve it.
You deserve it. Hottie, you deserve it.
But I talked to her about, because I know, like, being in Greece, because it was the latest production that I was in, it was a rough experience, to say the least. But I got really close with the cast of that, and I think that put in perspective, because during that whole process, I was in the whole mindset of, am I the issue? like in friendships and relationships and talking stages, whatever you want to name it, am I the person? Because it seems as though those things kind of attract away from me. And I was like, am I the issue? But I think that cast put in perspective that, excuse me, I had to burp. But
Look who's burping now.
but they put in perspective that I'm not. Like, I reached out to the girl that played Rizzo, Jasmine. Love her. Icon.
And love Rizzo.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
Yes.
What a dream. What a dream.
But she told me, I was talking to her about it, and I was just like, yeah, I just feel like I'm the issue. And she was like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. You are not. And I was like, my whole mindset at that point shifted, because I'm like, you know what? I'm not.
You know what, girl? You're right.
You know
it's
what?
not me.
Heck yeah. Because I'm like,
Well, and
it is. I'm not. I can't put myself in the position where I think that I'm the issue in every situation.
right. Because I mean, listen, there are some situations where like I evaluate. I'm like, is it me?
Mhm.
Am I the problem? Am I the drama?
I think though
And-
that shows you that you aren't. If you're sitting there thinking that, then that shows you you're not.
Right. Well, and it's also like, because my therapist and I have talked about this in therapy, because a lot of listening, I'm a mom, and
You're a mom?
every night before, I'm a mom. I have a kid. I had a kid, and he's her side. But I went through like this really big phase, and like it still lingers sometimes, where I'm like, okay, am I a good mother? Am I doing everything I possibly can for my kid? Like, how's he doing? All these things, like really, really like in it, but like I was second guessing myself. And I talked about it in therapy, and I was like, sometimes I feel like I'm not the best mom, and like I'm trying my best to be. And she said, let me go ahead and help you catch that thought. She said, bad moms don't worry if they're bad moms.
Ooh.
And I was like, T. T.
Clocked
She
it.
was like, yeah, she was like, what makes you a good mother is you question it, and you make sure that you're showing up the best you can every single day. So yes, you're a good mom. And I have to repeat that to myself all the time of, yeah, I'm a good mom. My child is super healthy. My child always goes to school. My child, is always dressed well and is well kept. And my child is kind. And, I list all of these things that are very admirable about Oliver. And it makes me think like, okay, if I was really a bad mom, if my anxiety was right, he would not be doing as well as he is. And so maybe we can also apply that to friendships of, okay, am I a good friend right now? Am I showing up the way I need to? And I have a friend who's going through kind of a friendship breakup, and it's really hard for me to watch it, but like the friend that she's breaking up with hasn't for a long time brought anything new to the table, showing that she's growing as a person. Like the decisions are just not there.
Do I know this
And so
person?
I'm having to watch. You don't, but I'll give you the tea when we're not recording. But there's a slew of bad decisions happening, and the friend I'm talking about has done everything that she can to help this person and be there for this person. But sometimes people don't want to change and be better and grow.
I hate that.
Me too.
And I will say, me and my friend Casey talked about it Wednesday night. It was right after, the whole thing with this past talking stage had happened. We sat in my car,
Right.
and I was just, like, I had received the message, so I got in my car after our little practice, bawling. Immediately started bawling when I got in my car, and she opened the door, and she was like, hey, did you ever talk to your mom? And she was like, ew.
Oh, my
And then
bad.
she got in.
We're not having a good day.
She got in. And she was like, "Are you okay?" And then I explained the whole situation to her, and she was like, 2022, Tyler would never have done any of this. I have completely changed from who I was. And I gave, even in situations with friendships, with that friendship that we were talking about, the person that 2022, Tyler would have never given that many chances.
Yeah.
And I think that they're gracious. I don't want to say gracious to have me, but they're gracious to have this version.
You guys are so lucky that I am the way that I am.
But you are lucky that I have grown, because old me would have called you and cussed you out and never looked back.
Oh, yeah. See, but old me, I just wouldn't have talked to you ever again.
Oh,
I just would have been like, yep, this doesn't work for me. And I just would have been like me at like 22, 23, it was chopping season, okay? It was...
It's dropping season.
Yeah, literally, like, I was like, okay, I can't. I can't anymore. Not saying that was the best thing to do, but it smells good in here.
I was just a horrible
but...
person in 2022. Like, I say that really tested my friendships, and it showed who my true friends are, because they stuck around.
Yes. No, I have friends like that as well, where like I still to this day, like whenever I reflect, sometimes I just take a moment to like text them, and I'm like, hey, thank you. thank you for dealing with it. But like those are the same friends that like I would call them about like what was going on in my life and what was happening, and they'd be like, dude, what are you doing? And why are you doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And it would cause me to self-reflect, because I'll be honest, like during that time, I was probably the problem. It was probably
It was like,
me.
hey, it was me. I looked in the mirror and said, hey, I have a gun.
Hey, I said, self, let's try something different.
Hey, look in the mirror and say, am I the problem? And if you say yeah.
Right. And you know what? I was, but because I was the problem, and because I had people be honest with me about it, like even my sister, my sister Megan, the one I talked about earlier in the podcast, she, whenever I was going through it really bad, I was, hanging out with her a lot, and, I was at her house more than I was at my own. Me and Oliver were, and she was like, yeah, you have no choice, like, I'm putting you into therapy. And I was like, ugh, I mean, like, I've already done therapy, like, I know it's really good for me, but, like, do I, like, it's gonna take me a while to open up, and then I gotta unpack all my life crap, like, this is just gonna be exhausting. Yeah. And I've gone to therapy, like, for the past, like, 2.5 years, and I look forward to it. I love Therapy Thursdays. I love my therapist. I think she is the most amazing person on the planet. And it's, if I wouldn't have had someone be honest with me and be like, hey, no, like, you need to go talk this out. Like, you need to go sit somewhere and have your phone on Do Not Disturb and really talk out these issues. And, like, I was in such a bad way, and, in the act of being vulnerable, I was in such a bad way that, like, I started off with, like, 2-hour sessions every week. Mm-hmm. And then after, a few months of that, we went to 1 session a week, but I would have, like, an emergency session scheduled just in case I needed to have a second one that week. And now, current day, I'm about, an hour every 2 weeks, but she and I always run over a little bit. Not because anything is severely wrong or I'm in a way that I was before, But just because I've learned the art of externally processing and not being stuck in my head all the time, because that's the scariest place to be.
Oh, let me tell you.
Right. Like someone said to me one time, they were like, I would love to spend just 5 minutes in your brain. And I was like, dude, you wouldn't last 30 seconds. You don't want to know what's going on up
You
here.
want to know what's going on in my brain? Have y'all ever watched that SpongeBob episode where they look in SpongeBob's brain and everything's on fire? That's mine. Constantly.
See, and referencing the same episode, yours is on fire. Mine is the scene where he looks in SpongeBob's brain and it's the office, and there are papers flying everywhere, and there are like 7,000 mini SpongeBobs running around in several different directions, and then it just cuts to Patrick going, "Is mayonnaise an instrument?" That's usually what's in my brain. It's trauma and SpongeBob references. But no, I think something else that we've uncovered throughout this talk is the best way that you can love and show up in relationships, whether it be romantic or friendships, is first you have to be okay with yourself. And you have to be, you have to love you first before anything else can flow from it. And I mean, that's a really beautiful but really scary journey. But it's also the best way to be, because then no one can come around and mess with you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
I will say, you Colquitt people are one of the main reasons why I started loving myself again.
Oh, by the way, happy year anniversary. Happy year for anniversary.
Oh, happy year for anniversary.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that.
An icon.
But, right, and I mean, I'll even say that too. The people in Colquitt were the ones that helped me, realize, how much I did love myself and care for myself, because whenever you're with authentic people who really do love and care for everyone that comes through the door, it's a breath of fresh air.
Definitely.
And we don't expect you to be anybody but yourself.
And I love that about theater, especially there.
Same. Yeah. Oh no, my friend Jess, I talked about her on the last episode. I was telling her about how, Oliver and I are moving up, and I was like, I have to make new friends, and, like, that's a little stressful for me, because I know I can make friends, but, like, I have to go through getting to know people over again, and, just started kind of stressing about that, and she was like, hey, join theater. And I'm like, I will, but it's not the same.
You don't understand.
It's like, they're not, yeah, like, they're not my swamp people.
That's how I felt with
moving
off, because I'm like, making friends are going to be so difficult, but then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do community theater, because I'm going to push myself, because I'm going to do it whenever I move on.
Right, and then you and I will have all these new experiences with new friends to tell each other about, and, those will definitely be trial and error, but it'll still be fun. Look at us having new experiences.
Amen to that, sister.
Amen.
Alright, so it has now hit over the hour mark. So, what is your hottie... I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay, grab that thought.
What is your hottie hyperfixation? That's what I was trying to say.
Ooh, hottie hyperfixation. I'm going to be really honest. My heating pad.
Ooh, yes.
So for Valentine's Day, Tyler gifted me like a 20-pound weighted blanket, because, as we've already stated, I haven't. And so I lay on my heating pad, because also the lupus like really really affects my joints. So like there are some days where like I'm stiff as a board or like I can't move, and I crawl on my heating pad and I put that weighted blanket over me. I'm out. I am down for the count. Like I cannot answer any more text messages. I cannot answer the phone. It's just me and my true crime podcast against the world at that moment. Tyler's over here smiling at me, laughing at me because he knows it's true. What about you? What is your hottie hyperfixation?
Good old hottie TLC.
Love TLC. That is so fair.
I went to go to a psychic actually one weekend with some friends, and I got my tarot cards read, and she was like, "You carry so much stuff. You know, you need TLC in your life." She said, "You need to do some self-care," and I was like, "You know what? You're right." So I've been doing just that. I want ice cream. I buy myself ice cream.
You.
I want wine. I'll buy myself a bottle and drink it all.
I want wine. I get drunk.
But yeah.
No, honestly, like my version of TLC is literally like a hot bubble bath, a glass of wine, a book or a podcast, and I sit there and I become a prude. I literally just wrinkle up, and I'm like, I'm a beautiful person who can now stick my fingers to the wall and clap.
I am a beautiful person who is also Spider-Man.
Right, and you know what? This is the massive reveal. Fun fact: I am Spider-Man.
It's
me,
Batman.
Tyler just said he was Batman.
No, I am.
Hate for y'all to find out this way. Imagine me as Batman, though. Just like, stop, guys.
You guys, we really have to stop all this crime.
Guys.
I've put so many miles on my Batmobile.
Guys, stop. Do you know how expensive it is? Do you know how expensive it is? I can't speak. Did I stroke out?
Do I need to call medical help? I say, are you okay?
Do you know how expensive it is to fill up the Batmobile?
Yeah, because it only takes
exactly.
diesel.
And diesel's so expensive. Guys, stop. I only have 3 batarangs left.
You guys, can we call Robin for this one?
Robin's on leave. He's on FMLA.
Oh, poor Robin. Someone should check on him.
Somebody should check on me.
This time I didn't get to update everybody about the Baldoni case.
Next episode.
But yeah, that'll be next episode. I'll spill all the pop culture tea that I'm keeping up on.
But I think that'll do it for this one because it's almost an hour and a half long.
Yeah, Pookie.
All right, bye, Hottie Nation. Make sure you like, subscribe, and favorite because if you're a hottie. Yeah. But if you're an uggo, we get it.
Well, not only that. Right. Well, the way that I love that you described it the first episode is go ahead and diddle that like button. I still laugh about that. I think that's so funny. So that's going to be my new thing.
Yeah, diddle that like button and diddle that subscribe button.
Diddle that subscribe button.
Make sure you join next week for Pop Culture Moment.
Yes. We can do an entire pop culture episode where we catch up on the tea from Baldoni to
exactly.
Diddy. I'll cover it all.
Love it. All right, bye guys.
Bye.